Hello, everybody. My name is Corey, and you're listening to The Story with Corey. Today we have on a super awesome guest, Mr. Hooligan Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Hooligan Jack, the one-man Irish band, comedian, and storyteller, is the prime example of someone who couldn't decide on just one thing when he wanted on what he wanted to do when he grew up, if he grew up at all. With that said, he still provides a high-energy Irish Celtic show filled with cráic. That means fun in Irish. He is a performer of original and traditional songs of good times, bad decisions, rebellions, love, heartache, and drinking with an angelic voice. Put an asterisk there. and half a dozen instruments or more. He brews proper Irish traditional with a kick of contemporary and punk. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Absolutely great.
Yeah,
you make me sound larger than life.
Well, that's my job here at the. That's what you're paying me for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wait, this interview's over now.
So, tell me about where you began with your love of Irish music.
So I've always I had a love for Irish music before I even really knew what it was. My grandmother used to listen to Irish music, all the time, but I never really knew that it was its own thing. Mm-hmm. And then what ended up happening was years later, I came across a bagpiper who was practicing out in front of a...
It's always a bagpiper.
It's always a bagpiper, always tooting their own horns. There was a bagpiper out in front of this firehouse that I was parked next to, and I was probably, good Lord, probably about 12 years old, and I was just fascinated because I was like, I recognized the sound of that instrument. And I asked him what it was, and he's like, I'm playing Irish and Scottish music, this is the bagpipes. And he went into this full thing about it, and I was just like, absolutely, I need to be part of that. And it wasn't until about a year or so later that I actually picked up an instrument and started playing music in general.
And what was your first instrument that you picked up?
The first instrument was actually a jaw harp.
A jaw harp. Explain that to those who don't know what that is.
So a jaw harp
AKA me.
Is a okay. So a jaw harp is a half circular piece of metal, and then it has tongues on either end, and in the middle.
It's a doing da doing da doing da doing.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's a doing da doing. That's the more fancy name of calling it.
Yeah.
But no, that was my first one.
Those ancient raves.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I started doing that, and I actually, before getting into the actual playing of Irish music, I actually started with bluegrass music because of that, because of the jaw harp.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's a lot of Appalachian. I grew up in Maryland, so a lot of the Appalachian music is derivative from Irish Celtic music.
Precisely.
As well. That's awesome. So where'd you go for that? Can you still play the jaw harp?
I do. I actually do have it on my new album, The Super Patty and the Songs of Legends. I have it on the South Australia track.
You got to bring that out to an open mic.
I do need to bring that out to an open mic or a show. I bring it out for very special occasions because it's very painful after a while to play.
I'm sure, yeah.
Especially as a solo artist, because I can play a tune on it. It's just explain
what goes on in your mouth when it happens.
So honestly, what happens, like the way that changing the tones and whatnot, depends on how much your mouth is actually open and how much air you're pushing through. So if you're pushing less air through it, it's going to be a little higher pitched. If you put more air through it, it ends up getting that bassier tone.
Really? I thought it was the other way around.
You would think so. And the funny thing is I think it was because it was so opposite of everything that I'd always thought of music in general. That's why I fell in love with it at first. And I was like, oh, this is so totally wackadoo.
This is rebellious.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
This is punk rock.
This is boing rock.
So keep going. So you learned that instrument, and then what?
So I learned that instrument, and then so I was actually part of a small bluegrass group for a tiny little while, and then myself and another member of that group decided to split away from that and go into Irish music. And then what ended up happening was, I got tired of getting really chapped lips after playing the jaw harp, and after a minor accident with big outcome at the end of playing the jaw harp on stage.
You can't just leave it at that.
I was going to leave it there. No,
this is the story podcast.
So
this is all about stories.
So this is the
you
story.
have to tell me the story.
The story will be told. So it happened. We were at a bluegrass session where we would take turns, kind of highlighting what we do, and I was playing the jaw harp as fast as I could, and what's known as the arm, which is the piece that goes back and forth, snapped. But in the process of the snap, also caught both the lower and upper lip, and cut my lip open.
So you gave yourself a nice little.
And the thing is I was dressed I was a nice white shirt. I had suspenders on. I was decked out, and in one little push of the arm, the shirt was like scarlet red, and people just sat there in.
A horror movie.
Oh, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But the thing is, like, stuff like that happened to me all the time. So, that was just like that first time where it was like, all right, I need to switch to an instrument that doesn't cause that problem.
Right.
So
which is what you
which is what ended up going into what's known as the bawron.
Which is the drum.
Which is the Irish drum, yep.
Explain to me the drum. I've actually played this drum before.
Oh, you have hidden talents that I didn't know.
Well, maybe you're too drunk to remember, but you were the one who gave me the drum.
Shit. I was the guy. I totally remember that. It was a very monumental moment in my life. So the bawron is traditionally made out of goat skin. There are some people that make it out of random types of skin, like red deer, sometimes kangaroos.
All of them.
I know, kangaroos as well.
Kangaroos?
Yeah, it gives a little bit more hop to it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Gives it get the underworld tones.
Yeah.
But no, and then it's just stretched over a wooden frame, and like multiple cultures all over the world have different variations of a frame drum. But the thing that makes the Irish bawron kind of very different from that is the style in which you're playing it, because traditionally you're using two ends of the stick. You're holding it from the middle, and you're actually kind of doing this sort of motion. Kind of the hang loose type thing. Like, it's a real punk right there. Yes. But no, what ended up happening, like you just do that, and you get that the triplet beat, and as it's progressed over the years, we have what's known as the weight carry style, where you're technically only using one side of the stick, but you're actually able to use that counterweight to get a little bit more dexterity in the beats. So you can,
and it's like a primitive bass drop too.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can like
Yep. So your hand is in the inside. If your hand's up towards the top, you get that higher pitch sound, and if you go lower, obviously it gets lower.
So you get your acoustic bass drop or beat drop.
Yep. So I essentially end up with a full drum kit worth of sound.
Yes.
With one drum, and it's actually really fun to, especially with people that play drums who've never seen a bawron, and they're just sitting there like, oh, this took me an hour to set all this up, and this guy just shows up with one drum. And it's like, oh, my bad. Sorry to make you question your life decisions.
It's okay, you're converting people.
I'm converting people one day at a time. One beat at a time. And sometimes I'm converting people and I don't even remember.
Yeah, right. So you started with that. What else have you done? With what other instruments do you have? Because you say multi-instruments.
I do multiple instruments because kind of like what I discussed, I couldn't decide like being a comedian, storyteller, or musician. It's the same thing with instruments. I am all self-taught with all my instruments. I'm one of those people, like, if I get an instrument in my hand and if you give me just a few weeks with it, I can figure it out. But that, from the bawron, that led into the tin whistles, which led into the flutes, which led into bagpipes. Unfortunately, I do play bagpipes. I just don't play them.
How have we never seen this?
So I sadly got rid of my bagpipes years ago.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm an idiot.
Was it during COVID?
No.
I was going to say,
it was sadly before that.
That would be like the only semi-acceptable reason.
So here's the reason. So I went from having bagpipes, and then I'm actually an asthmatic, so it was kind of one of those things where I was like, it was really hurting me.
You just need to get like a
but
vacuum.
Then I found out there is electric bagpipes.
There are
electric bagpipes, and I do have them. I'm actually working towards actually bringing those back into the performances.
I want to see Jack play an electric bagpipe to my songs and see what happens.
It is actually really cool because it's like the type of pipes I have, which is a Fingerstorm brand, which has 3 different types of bagpipes in the same chanter piece, and it's all just finger sensors that are on the chanter piece, and so you can pick it up and turn it to any key, any drones you want. No drones, you can.
Really?
Yeah, and it's absolutely awesome because you get the Ulan pipes, which is what's the Irish pipes. You get the Highland pipes, which are Scottish, and then we have small pipes, which is also Scottish and Welsh. So that's all in one little piece of equipment, which looks like a vape. I get questioned about it all the time. Like, are you vaping? Like for me, it's like you're gonna wish in a few minutes I was vaping.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh no, I thought we were done with that. No. But no, so that I went from the bagpipes and then decided to get into strings. So I went in.
Really?
I went into strings. So I went into the mandolin. Then I would say like the one string instrument that I truly love, because the first time I actually like got to see it in action was at an Irish festival. In Michigan called the Michigan Irish Music Festival, and there was a guy there by the name of Mick, who played the bouzouki, and there was just something about that tone where it's just
really cool tone.
Because like it's kind of set up like a 12-string guitar, but it's only just the top 2 sets where they're octave strings, and then you have sets like a mandolin on the last 2 sets, and it's just so punchy and rich, and like the way he was playing it was just like, I've got to get me one of those. So years later I finally did, and then
why don't you bring these out?
I try to as much as like when I go to an open mic, especially because like I do the open mics just to, well, essentially to screw with people, right? Because messing with people's minds is my thing.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later. Stay tuned. So
subtle foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Oh boy, I'm gonna rock some worlds with this one. But no, like I do the open mics. Well, for one, I like to make sure like, when people hear one-man Irish band, they're like, I don't really want a guy that's strapped up with a whole bunch of instruments. They're not all strapped to me. Like I do have a shaker and a tambourine strapped to my feet, and that's about it. But like everything is intentional with the instruments that I choose for certain songs, for certain feels. Because I do also have like things like the djembe. I also have the didgeridoo as well. I have a didgeridoo, which is also in that South Australia song. Well, if you listen to my CDs,
I have listened to your CDs. I didn't actually realize that you had a didgeridoo on hand.
Yep, I do have a didgeridoo. I'm actually hoping to add it to 2 more songs this season.
Didgeridoo on my songs.
I can definitely do that.
That would be sick.
Because I'm an asthmatic. I got rid of the bagpipes. I was like, oh, this should help. It's just one pipe. But no, I do all that stuff with the one-man Irish band type thing. A lot of people were like, that doesn't seem like the type of thing I want. Which is also one of the reasons why I got into the comedy and the storytelling part of it, because that's stuff I always enjoy. I love, like now, I like making you laugh. I like making other people laugh, because the whole point of going to my shows is to kind of forget your troubles.
Have fun.
Like, we're just gonna have fun. That's one of the joys about Irish music in general.
No, and I just to rant just a tiny bit, because I ranted a lot yesterday.
Let it out. I'm gonna start charging you for this therapy
session.
Yeah,
right. Well,
talk to Jack now.
Well, as Americans, right, there's so much to escape. Right. And no matter like what your background is, there's just so much to escape.
Absolutely.
And I really believe with all my heart that when someone wants to go out to a pub or to a bar or watch a sports game, they just want to have fun.
Right.
And they want to escape. And if you're not letting somebody escape, you're not being nice.
Absolutely. I agree with that. That needs to go on a shirt. No, I do agree. Nice. I agree. Absolutely. And that's what I try to do with my shows. Like, I like making people wonder, like, how the hell is he going to play all these instruments?
Right.
I do get some rather interesting comments when I'm on stage. Like, where are you going to put that one? It's like, now, listen.
You keep talking, I'll show you.
That's a different type of show, and we don't do that. But no, like, you know, I love getting people like, hey, what's that instrument? What's that instrument? Mm-hmm. And with the comedy that I do is it's mostly doing a lot of working the crowd a little bit, because part of what I like to do is get the people involved, because Irish music is very much hands-on.
Yes.
Like, the whole point of Irish music and the Irish culture when it comes to the art is getting people involved. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you know, yeah, you might run into those really weird situations where you end up with a conversation where it's like, I did not see that coming. You know, I've had someone that said they were from Scotland at one point, and then they told me it was Scotland, PA, and I was like, that's just wrong.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, is there any Scots people in the house? And she's like, I'm from Scotland. I was like, oh, really? What part of Scotland? PA? And it's like, no. That's cheating.
Subtle foreshadowing.
I know. I'm feeding you this now.
Yeah, keep going.
But no, like, but things like that, you know, like, and you know, I gave her grief about it, because then she also told me that was a dry town. And I was like, they knew. the local Pennsylvania population were like, we're gonna let them call this Scotland, but we're not letting them fucking do it. We're not doing that. Not doing that. And we've been there. We don't want to do that again. Right. But no, like, you know, stuff like that. You know, like getting those people to actually open up and actually get a chance to party and rant. Yeah. You know, because like one of the best things about Irish music is like the storytelling in general.
It's really just ranting, honestly.
No, because we've been through a lot of stuff. So, you know, we've
We'll get there.
They have been. I was not there. But no, like the best part about that is like Irish music is like being able to actually rant in a artful way.
Artful way, yes.
Ranting with an art.
So you actually have some of these recorded. Mm-hmm. Shall we like to get into one?
Absolutely.
Which one would you like to do first? Super Patty, Grace, or The Process Man?
Let's actually, because we're talking about the ranting and whatnot, let's go with The Process Man.
So tell me about it. What is it about?
So The Process Man, is actually all about chemical workers, during the early 1900s, where they didn't have the proper, like, equipment to keep themselves safe. They were working for, like, absolutely nothing, with very small rewards, plus a whole lot of health issues that came out of it. And one of the best things about this song is it really doesn't hold back. Like, yes, it's kind of a...
This is a traditional.
This one is...
I don't know if it's
kind of newer traditional.
Yeah, right, newer traditional.
It was written just a few years before copyright started, so technically, yes, it is a traditional song.
Public domain, let's
go. Public domain, we love public domain. But it's one of those good stories where you really, like I generally, when I do this song on the show, it's like, who needs to cut loose from their work life, so...
Let's take a listen.
Well, the process man of my end, I'm telling you no lie. I work and breathe among the fumes that trail across the sky. Oh, there's thunder all around me, and there's poison in the air. Oh, there's a lousy smell that smacks the fell, and dust all in me hair. And it's go, boys, go, the time of every breath. In every day you're in this place, you're 2 days near death. But you go. Well, I work among the spinners, and I bring the oily smoke. I shovel up the gypsum, and I am Major Joe. I stand knee deep inside, and I got sick with a caustic burn. Been working rough and seen enough to make your stomach churn. And it go, boys, go, no time of every breath. In every day you're in this place, you're 2 days near death. But you go. Well, there's overtime and bonuses, opportunities galore. The young men like their money and the law come back for more. But soon you'll be knocking on and you look older than you should. For every bomb made on the job we're paid with flesh and blood. And in go, boys, go, the time of every breath. In every day you're place you do, they ain't near that. Why'd you go? Well, a process man of my end, I'm telling you no lie. I work and breathe among the fuels that trail across the sky. Oh, there's thunder all around me and there's poison in the air. There's a lousy smell that smacks the fell and dust all in me hair. And it's go, boys, go, the time of every breath. In every day you're in this place you do, they ain't never that. Why'd you go? And you go, boys, go, the time of every breath. And every day you're in this place you do, they ain't never that. Why'd you go? And it's go, boys, go, the time of every breath. And every day you're in this place you do, they ain't never that. Why'd you go? And you go. And you go. When you go.
And we're back.
All right.
That was Process Man.
That was Process Man.
So, what's the process of you, of you picking and choosing what songs to record and play at your performances?
So, kind of like I said before, I like making people forget what they been going through before coming to a show.
Yeah, way to go, and then like tell them about all the hard work.
I know. It's like we're gonna do that. So that's why I do it towards the beginning, and then we're like, all right, we're not gonna talk about that anymore. That doesn't exist.
Yep.
But one of the reasons, like the way of process of picking the songs that I do, because I like doing the ones that are popular, like everyone loves Whiskey in the Jar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, staples of Irish music. You know, Danny Boy, I get requested every once in a while. And I will occasionally, if shots are provided, go into the route of actually providing that particular song. But for the most part, like, I go for the songs that have the unique stories, or even
Right.
because like we talked about before, like there is a lot of history that goes in with Irish music as well. So having it where we're giving it to the public and actually giving it a chance to not be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, some of the songs can be hundreds of years old.
Right.
And some of them could be within the past, 90 years. You know, so...
Like that last one.
Like that last one.
Well,
Absolutely.
1910. It's almost 100 years ago. Oh, my God.
Jeez, it was... And the thing is like, we don't really think about how much different, workplaces were back then. So that's like...
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And, and you think about... And also, that's one of the other reasons I do that song is because sometimes we've had a bad day at work, but we also
have our fingers, and we have our feet.
Right, we
don't
not
have
burning.
black lung.
Right, because that's one of the things, like, there's a part in the song where it's like, I've been sick with a caustic burn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the fumes is making your skin
right.
break out. And, like, we don't have to work like that anymore. So
Nope.
Much thankfully. But, like, that's also one of those things. Like, I like to do songs that people can relate to some degree. And sometimes the songs are absolutely just off the wall weird.
As it should be.
As it should be, because, like, I have a song that I do called Rare Old Mountain Dew, not referring to the soda. But the chorus is just a whole bunch of gibberish. But everyone loves it because it's like, oh, it's such a tongue twister. And it's like, and I'm saying absolutely nothing.
Right.
It doesn't add or take away from the song, but we all just need a little bit of nonsense at some points.
You know John Milosevic?
Yes.
Have you ever heard him do the dirge?
Yes. Yes. Like, he did that song, and I was like, I relate to that, and that's great.
Dude, the first time he did it, I was like, oh, really? Wow, it just happened to be on this night. And then he did it again at different times. Like, oh, this is a stick.
Well, everyone's got their thing.
Well, because I thought, because his songs are so outlandish, and I think that they're like traditional songs. No, he made that stuff up.
Yep. I mean, well, the thing is like, even with the songs that I write, I also like to give a tip of that hat to that old form of storytelling. And that's also another one of the reasons, like, one of the processes that I use, like, if the lyrics are solid, you can bet I'm probably going to do it.
So did you actually send me an original song?
I did.
You did? Let's listen to that.
I sent you Super Patty.
All right. Tell me about Super Patty.
I'll do
Why is
this
it
real
super?
quick.
Why is it Patty?
So, so I actually had gone to a Dropkick Murphy show, and there's a friend of mine who, for every Irish event, this man is decked out in Irish colors. Like, he's got shamrocks. He's wearing the green, white, and orange. He is.
This will segue into my next question really well.
Well, we'll see what happens. But we were talking. My fiance and I were talking, and she was like, he looks like a superhero. I was like, oh, an Irish superhero. She goes, he looks like a super patty, and it just ended up being this thing where now we call him that. But now it's not just like it's about him specifically. With slight tweaks and add-ons to the story because
because you have to.
Don't let the truth get
It's
in
a
the way of a
legend,
good story.
right?
So we call him Super Patty, and when he comes up to the shows, I do point him out. But I did use little segments of his life to throw in there with a whole bunch of random other things. So it's all about those people that just when it comes to Irish stuff, they're there for it, they're decked out for it, and they're there to have a good time.
Well, let's take a listen to Super Patty.
All right, everybody, gather around. All right, it's story time. So, this is a story about a man who saved St. Patrick's Day and just made it a day worth remembering by showing us that we needed to be proud to be Irish. And this man was called Super Patty. 1, 2, 3, go! A young man at the pub, the hero to become, dressed head to toe in the Irish colours tree. The drinks they were many and the lasses were fine, but Lord God have mercy, with Super Patty will fly. Lord God have mercy, with Super Patty will fly. He danced every jig and sang all the songs, shipping up to Boston, good luck to the barley mow. We thought that he had gone until we stepped aside, feeling empowered and drinking each hand. On the legs of a racehorse, a 5K he ran. Lord God have mercy, with Super Patty will fly. Lord God have mercy, with Super Patty will fly. Then back up at the pub, we finally arrived. Super Patty had won, stuck in the Irish pride. In the middle of a crowd served, someone yelled his call. Well, barrels and tables and a few of the staff. He jumped over the bar and attached to the tap. Lord God have mercy, Super Patty won't stop. Lord God have mercy, Super Patty won't stop. Drank the whole pub dry. Oh, we danced the night away. The sun was on the rise. People sleep where they may. Myself and Super Patty, the only two to stand. With a twinkle in his eye, he says he to me, we Irish can't be Irish for just one fucking day. Aaron go bra, with Super Patty will fly. Lord God have mercy, with Super Patty will fly.
All right, everybody hold your britches.
Holden.
You've been doing this since 2019.
Right.
You've lied to people. You've cheated people. You've stolen their innocence for 6 years. You said your first Irish... I'm putting the pieces here together. You said your first Irish festival was in Michigan, a town called Muskegon.
Correct. Yes.
You're a poser. You're not Irish. You're a Michiganlander. Whatever they say.
A Michigander. What's good for the goose is good for the Michigander. Yes, I have actually been posing. And here's the thing. In my shows, I never actually say I'm actually from Ireland.
Sure do point to it.
but they do draw the conclusion very quickly. I don't know why they do that. But no, and the thing is that the Irish accent was never meant to be a thing. It was kind of by accident. Where my first time ever being on stage with playing Irish music, that Irish accent came out because of how I grew up, a little bit later with being around first generation Irish people and actually learning the music, right? Yeah, because there's huge Irish community out in Michigan.
Really? I never would have thought that.
Yeah, there's a lot of it because it's industrial work and farm work and lumber.
That's Irish.
A lot of those Irish people came out there looking for work. And there is Irish stuff everywhere in Michigan, where as opposed to living in PA, where it's very segmented in the areas of where there's actually an Irish community. And that's actually, I tell people, the reason I moved out here was for the Irish community out here. And then it just turns out I just need to get my hearing checked because they said Amish community. And it's definitely not the same, especially since the Amish people still refer to us as English, and that's not going to make too many Irish people happy. It's like no, not anything but that. Sinners, we'll take that. If that's what you're dishing out, we'll take sinner over English.
That's funny. So, what's your real accent like?
So my real accent is like this. It's very Midwestern. I do have things that do kind of show. One of the things that I get certain Midwesterners will pick up on is me saying, sure enough.
You ever go, oh?
I would love to say no. That's probably the line I use the most. And you'll see me do it when I'm getting on ready for a stage. If I bump into someone, oh, my bad, and they're like, dude, stop apologizing. It's like, well,
sorry.
Yeah, I do the sorry sometimes too. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. But no, and the best thing is I went from people knowing that I'm Michigander, to people thinking I'm Irish, and me being called Hooligan Jack, the whole point of the show is to kind of get hoodwinked a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's all in good fun. I have actually met people from Ireland who will try to buy me a drink afterwards. Hey, how long has it been since you've been back to
the motherland?
Back to the motherland? And I was like, I've actually never have been.
This is my motherland.
This is my motherland. You're visiting. No, but one of the things that we get asked as Michiganders is what part of Michigan you're from, and we do this.
Are you in the west and east?
I'm on the west coast, but I'm also what's known as a troll. So anybody that's below the Mackinac Bridge is a troll. Anyone that's in the UP is called a goat because of the Billy Goat's Gruff story.
Yes.
So
interesting.
So I'm a Michigan troll. I wish I could have probably marketed myself as that too, and people would have believed it. But no, what we do in Michigan
that's your next
we do this thing. We're like, where are you from? We're from here.
Right.
And most Michiganders will be oh, I know where you're at, Muskegon area. Oh, okay, sweet. We go there all the time. It's like, well, Michigan's not that big, so not surprising. But no, this is what I normally sound like on a regular basis. Although like I said, the Irish accent was never a planned thing. But then when I started doing it, people loved it so much that it ended up being a thing. And now I get to both pick on Americans, fellow Americans, and actual Irish people.
It's easy to do
because
both.
I've had, like I said, I've had people try to buy me drinks and ask me that question: what part of Ireland are you from? And it's like, I'm in the almost island area of Michigan. But no, it's a fun little way to see what people do, and like when the very few times that I do get questioned about it, like I never actually give straight answers. So we're just like, it's like, yeah, totally, absolutely. And but if they come right out and directly ask me, it's like, no, I'm not. And then they'll just like, oh no, and it just ends up being this thing. And then I end up getting more drinks, so it's just always fantastic.
Yeah, more drinks is more fun.
I know, like one of the things with being an Irish musician, not only do you have to be a good musician, and with the comedy, you gotta be able to handle the drink, because like I just had last year, St. Patrick's month. It's month for me. It starts first, and we go through to April. But I had some people from Texas at a show. They were attempting to drink me under the table while I'm on stage. That didn't work out so well for them. There was a few Texans that didn't make it home that night. They just stayed there at the bar.
That's awesome. So yeah, tell me about because you're Irish, typically you're packed out, and this week this Valentine's, not Valentine's, St. Patrick's, it's one of the two Irish people.
Well, yeah, to some degree, but no, this month is already crazier than most.
It's not even March yet.
And it starts tomorrow.
It
starts tomorrow. So tomorrow I start off.
Screw the leap years, people.
Yeah, sure. Dear Lord. No, so I start off my year for St. Patrick's season. Going to Mount Holly for their parade. I'm actually marching in their parade.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because, I was all told to not play in the street, and now I got the opportunity to play in the street, so it's like, we're doing that one. But then I actually have a couple gigs that are, like, I was actually in the process of sealing up the deals for on my way in here today. Then I have, actually not too far from here, I have the Union Station Grill that I'm playing for their
nice.
Their pub crawl type thing that they have going, and then I am headed over to Virginia Beach.
You are doing that.
I am actually doing that gig. I'm like super excited about that one, because it's like this is gonna be interesting. New faces. We're gonna torture some new people, and these people have no idea that I'm not actually Irish.
Yep. I'm going to send this to all the Virginia.
No, don't you dare. No, send it to them afterwards.
Yeah,
after I've left. They're like, oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
It's like, oh, it's a myth. But no, so I'm going to Virginia Beach. I'm doing Carlisle. I've got Lidditz. I've got...
What are you doing in Lidditz?
Lidditz is actually a private party.
Oh, so I can't go. Okay.
You can't go. I'm sorry, but I will talk about you a lot.
I'm sure it'll be all great things.
Like, do you know Corey? Be like, no.
No.
Well, let me tell you, he's a fantastic guy. Then I have York, which I'm at the Fig and Barrel. I'm at Annie Bailey's in Lancaster. Then I'm headed over to Grandview Vineyards on Sunday, March 16th. And then actual St. Patrick's Day, that's another 2 days worth of music. In one
5 gigs in 2 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going over to Marty McGee's, and then going over to Skylar Brewing, and I went from last year where I had 6 gigs in the month of March to this year where I'm looking at about 12.
There you go.
And
it's double.
It is double. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I hope my voice holds out.
That's okay. I have St. Patrick's Day. All Irishmen go to sleep for a month.
Pretty much. Like, my fiance, when we got done with St. Patrick's season last year, and she gifted me a shamrock pillow and a pillow that said sláinte, which is cheers. And then a blanket covered in shamrocks. And I was like, oh, this will be a great picture for doing for, hey, thanks for everybody that came out to the shows. Now it's time for Jack to fall asleep for a month. Yeah, pretty much. Let my liver recover. Either one. But I was laying out in the front yard. My neighbors are walking by, like, why is he in blankets and pillow, and she's taking my photo, and I'm sitting there just like, one, two, and I started falling asleep. She's like, "You're not sleeping now." You're just like, that might not be an option.
This is just a photo op.
It's not a photo op, but you gotta hurry, man. No, but like I get really tired. My voice gets a lot deeper after St. Patrick's Month, which has led to some rather interesting situations after that. But that story's for another time.
I'll allow that one slip.
Yeah, that one's like. Eh.
So, yeah, we have one more song from you.
All right.
Called Grace.
Yes.
Tell me about Grace.
All right.
Who is she and why is she important?
So Grace Gifford is the love of the life of Joseph Plunkett. He was a leader in the rebellion of the Easter Rebellion, and what ended up happening with Grace and Joseph during the rebellion, Joseph was captured by the English.
And murdered.
Well, that's pretty much. He was taken to Kilmainham jail. Him and a few of the other leaders were rounded up as well, put in there, and they were given. They say trial. It was an execution sentence.
Right,
That was what they literally were in there just to hear you were sentenced to death.
Yep.
Now Grace Gifford and Joseph Plunkett, the day that the rebellion went down, they were actually supposed to get married that day, but because plans changed, they ended up doing the rebellion. Then they didn't get married when they were supposed to. So the captain of the guard, hearing about this after some negotiating with Grace Gifford and her family, he allowed her to marry Joseph Plunkett a few hours before his execution.
Wow.
And some of the song, there's a part where it says, "Just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger," which is something he actually said to her after they tied the knot. And they were only ever actually married for only just a couple of hours before he was executed, and she never remarried.
That's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. But the song was written because the rebellion happened in 1916, so just a little over 100 years ago.
Wow.
And the song is kind of become kind of the national anthem of what it means to be Irish, like to put that sacrifice out there. And like, yes, it is actually closely following Joseph Plunkett and Grace Gifford, but this type of stuff happened. Like these were like, this was in a city of Dublin. There's civilians in there. There was people that had nothing to do with the rebellion that ended up paying the cost as well. So having stories like this and the song Grace really relates very heavily to that.
If there's anything that us Americans and the Irish can agree on, it's frick the English.
As we gather in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I think about these past few weeks. Oh, will they say we've failed from our school days? They have told us we must yearn for liberty. Yet all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. But take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand that the love I bear for these brave men, I love with my dear life. But when Gory called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out and on, and I will die. With all my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn as I walked out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall so everyone will know that I love so much that I could see his blood upon the rose. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. Now take me out and on, and I will die. With all my love, I'll place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye.
And if you want to hear more of that stuff, you can also grab his wonderful CD album, Super Patty and Stuff of Legends.
Yep.
Songs of Legends.
Songs
I was
of
close
Legends.
enough.
I forgot what the title was.
It's on. I imagine it's out on Spotify and everywhere else.
It is on Spotify. You can see me post stuff about it on a regular basis because you can never oversaturate your own merch.
That's right. And speaking of saturating the market, you can also find that stuff here at the SRCC where we're doing this wonderful podcast at.
Absolutely.
Come out to the SRCC, the Susquehanna River Creative Conspiracy, every night. Not every night. Every Wednesday night is our open mic.
They're gonna have me piling up here. Like, you said every
I
night.
said every night. Well, most times we got stuff going on.
I'll be leading the parade. Be like, he said.
He said it. But no, seriously, come out to this SRCC. We have wonderful stuff going on. We have community art nights and all these other wonderful things, including stuff that's out for rent. You can, become a member here. You can have part of the venue. You can have this space, the photography room, everything, and a really cool lounge upstairs. So I really, I shout out to SRCC for letting me use this space. You can follow them everywhere at SRCCPA Art. Or go to the website srccpaart.org because they are a nonprofit.
Yes, they are.
All right, back to the show. I was gonna say something really funny and rude.
Well, that was funny too. We'll take
Yes.
it. I forgot.
That's okay. All right, so funniest things that's ever happened to you on the show. Go. Or most
dear.
embarrassing.
The most embarrassing. How about one that's
One of
like
each.
both?
Go ahead.
So this was before I became Hooligan Jack.
You were just Jack.
I was actually back then.
You were just
I'm also
Hooligan.
another poser. I was also a poser now of that. I actually didn't go by Jack until I moved out here into Pennsylvania.
Your name isn't Jack.
My real
Now
name is
I've been hoodwinked. What's your real name? What's the name your mother gave you?
Jonathan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not a Jonathan.
That's
Like,
that's
I
even
got
worse
told
'cause
that.
It's English.
It's very English. Like,
you're a double crosser.
Like the funny is, like I moved out here and I would introduce myself and they're like, "No, you're not a Jonathan, you're a Jack," and then it just ended up being a thing because I always liked the name Jack anyway. So
Is your last name at least Meisner?
yes, it is.
According to my mother.
It's like it's been so long. I just go by Hooligan now. But no. So before I became known as Hooligan Jack, I was with a band called GASTA, which was was a 2 to 3 piece band, depending on the day and how many pints were
Had
put out that day. So we were at a place called New Holland Brewing for St. Patrick's Day, and we were playing. We had about 45 minutes left to our show, and I was young, dumb, and stupid back then, as opposed to old, dumb, and stupid now. So what ended up happening, I ended up doing this song called "The Portuguese Sailor," which is a traditional Irish song, which I probably should add to my repertoire. It's a good story, but it had this sort of feel where you kind of could do Russian kick dancing.
But that's always fun.
Oh, it is when it's someone else.
Dude, Russian kick dancing to an Irish song about Portuguese people.
Yep,
It's wonderful.
Played by Michiganders.
Yeah, right.
in a pub called New Holland.
There you go.
So what ended up happening, to kind of give you a little reference as how it got to this point, 2 years before this, we were at a festival, we were about to do that song. These people had been drinking all day, and they were a little worse for wear. And I thought it would be funny to have a whole bunch of drunk people in front of the stage falling all over themselves. But it backfired because they all started screaming, "We don't know how to do that. You show us how it's done." And I was like, this didn't go as well as I planned. So I did it the one time, and then it ended up being a thing. And I ended up doing that for almost 5 years for this song. I would do Russian kick dancing while playing the bodhrán. And that's years later, we fast forward to New Holland Brewing Company, and we start doing the song. I start dancing. I get like 3-4 jumps in, and all of a sudden, my pants rip wide open, like from like the bottom of the fly down the middle of the pants and up past the back pocket. It was ripped. The only thing keeping it on my body was the belt. And like, I am mortified because like on top of all this, like this is supposed to be a family friendly event. Like at the end of the song, I was like, normally this is a pretty PG show. But if you want to throw tips or you want to buy one of our CDs, this helps keep, forget starving artists, we need clothed artists right now. But what made that situation was far worse is like, not only do I have another 45 minutes left of my show, I can't go anywhere.
Right.
So the worst part was the St. Patrick's Day parade that was happening in Holland was just finishing up, and our stage that we were on, the back of the stage faces floor to ceiling windows, and I have a man dressed up as a very legitimate looking St. Patrick taking a selfie.
That is great.
With me in the background with part of my butt hanging out, and he's just like, and I'm like, no. So somewhere out in Michigan, there is a St. Patrick running around with my butt on his phone, and yeah, it was one of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, we can't, this can't be happening right now. And yeah, we ended up because it was one of those days we ended up with 4 gigs in one day. So in an already tight schedule, we had to stop by a store and to get new pants, and to top it all off, we couldn't park up close to the bar because of the parade. So I had to walk 2 blocks through a bunch of parade goers with this flap hanging, and people are dying. I
would too. That's hilarious.
Like it was. And the worst part, even the worst part, was the fact they were brand new jeans. They shouldn't have even done that. I was just like, oh my goodness. I've never actually gotten away from not having to clean up after a gig, but that was the one time where it was like, I gotta go. my friend was like, yeah, dude, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. It's like, yep, thank you, bye. Awesome. But no, like, stuff like that, like what I said with the jaw harp thing, stuff like that happens to me all the time.
Makes the legend better.
It makes the legend better. And the thing is, like, I go for Hooligan because, yes, I do some things that are very purposeful in the way of, even such things as, like, misleading people, not necessarily coming right out and saying it, but letting people kind of fill in the blanks, or even just mishaps. Like, I've had beer that I've completely missed the cup holder. I've had times where I actually showed up to a gig with my bar on and didn't bring any of the tippers, which is the sticks that you use. And I had a 2-hour show, and it was a 3-hour trip to get back. So
You were stuck.
I ended up with some very blistery hands.
Yeah, right.
Because like I had to do the old traditional way of doing the knuckles, which very 8-man thing to do. But no, like I've had some pretty wonderful moments, but I will admit there's some moments where it's like, I don't know why they let me out in public.
So what are you still working on?
So right now, aside from getting all geared up for the start of St. Patrick's Month, I'm actually working towards doing a double album recording.
Of originals and traditionals?
Of originals and traditionals for both CDs.
There you go.
But I wanted to do one that was family friendly, kind of like what I have for this one. And then I wanted to do one that I'm actually titling The Green Light District, which is actually going to be focused for the adults only. Adults only. That is not
You've
a lie.
been warned here.
You've been warned. Like, and it will have some of the songs that are in Irish music, aside from good storytelling. We can be very dirty-minded people.
Oh, I'm sure.
And sometimes the dirtier, the funnier it is. And so we have things like 7 Drunken Nights that are going on to it. I have a couple originals going on there, which I can't repeat the titles to at the moment. But no, I that's what I'm working towards, to be able to start getting those recorded towards the end of this year.
That's awesome.
By getting the material down packed, because I've never done a double album. That means like 20 songs at least in one shot. So
Hey, good luck at that.
I'm not gonna get any sleep this year. That's what I'm going for.
That's okay. So besides sleep, what techniques are you still working on as a musician?
So things that I'm working on as a musician, because one of the things like I promote myself as being one-man Irish band, trad with a kick. So traditional music with something that's without Russian kicks. But like being able to do my own thing where people are like, that's the Hooligan Jack version. I know that one. I love that. But it's also a nod to that traditional type style. So I'm going in that route of like adding more to the repertoire. Things like people don't really like. There's tons of Irish songs. I'm working on one called The Sick Note, which is literally about a guy who's sending in a sick note to not come into work that day for an accident that he definitely caused. You know, he's got a broken rib, and he's like, I'm sure you guys will understand why I'm not at work today. You know, stuff like that. Like, I want to come up with some more of those unique stories. Like, as much as I love doing the drinking songs, I really, really do. It's my bread and butter and my Guinness. But, you know, doing those unique stories where people are like, oh, I haven't heard that song in forever. You know, I want to make sure that those songs aren't forgotten as well.
Right.
So coming up with that good combination, primarily for the set lists, for shows, to be able to throw in the stuff people know, little less known, and the originals. And I want to do, and that's another thing. I'm writing more originals, because after everyone really liked Super Patty, it kind of got me into that, like,
There you go.
I need to do more of it. So
Got 2 more questions for you.
2 more questions.
Do you see yourself ever doing anything other than Hooligan Jack?
Oh, as far as in the music industry type stuff, I have definitely thought about it. It was actually kind of funny that's actually a recent conversation I had with somebody, because on top of listening to Irish music and Celtic music, and starting out playing music professionally in bluegrass music, I grew up also listening to a lot of country music.
Really?
A lot of it.
That makes sense, Midwestern.
Yeah, so I have thought about doing, not switching. I'm not getting rid of the Irish.
You're gonna go from the Irish accent to the, hey y'all, how you doing?
No, I'll keep the Michigan accent for that one, because people are like, oh, that's different. And like, because Michiganders make the English language so, well, like a Romance language.
Yeah.
But no, I have thought about switching over. Not switching over, but doing some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then as far as other stuff in music, I've really thought about actually doing more teaching in the music itself for that younger generation, because I do teach, and because most of Irish music is orally taught.
Yes.
You know, I want to be able to provide that for those.
Not like you go buy a Hal Leonard of the bottom.
right. Yeah, I was like, here you go, everything you need. I have seen some packets like that. Some of them are good. Some of them are
not.
Well, yeah.
Less than good.
I try to be nice because we're all professionals.
It's good to call out bad stuff when you say it.
Yeah, no, there's definitely sometimes like I've seen a few videos where it's like, yeah, don't do that. That will hurt you. That will after a long time.
I'll give you arthritis.
I mean, I'm getting that. I'm only 34 years old.
Well, better protect that wrist.
One day at a time.
Well, where can people find you at?
So you can find me on Facebook as Hooligan Jack, the one-man Irish band. Have the TikTok, have the Instagram. I thought about doing OnlyFans, but I don't really want to digress that far, so we're not going to do that.
Not yet.
Depends on how the music career goes. No. Just me in a kilt lifting it to show my kneecap, be like, woohoo, look. Or you could come out to my show years ago and you can see everything while on stage, when the fan split open. But no, you can, I even did the TikTok thing. I'm going to try to do a little bit more with that. Because that actually does give me a little bit more time to do the stories to go with the music as well. Yeah. So something I might not get to go fully in depth on, I can actually do that with something like a TikTok.
That's awesome. So, all right, so be sure to follow him everywhere at Hooligan Jack, the one-man Irish band, and buy a CD.
Absolutely.
Super Patty in there.
I was like, he's gonna get it. Nope, never mind. He flipped it twice. He wasn't gonna get it.
I was not getting it. That's okay. And you can find us at well, you can't right now because I haven't paid the website fee. But
you can pay the website fee. Oh, this is why I'm paying you for this.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a struggling musician too.
I'll get you a Burger King fries.
Yes, thank you. Eventually, you'll be able to go on to CoreyRosenProductions.com and find everything else. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. Also, this episode is sponsored by Bruno the Brontosaurus.
Woohoo!
Bruno's big thing. That's a children's book that me and my girlfriend wrote. And you should go buy it if you like your kids. So
wow. That's marketing at its finest.
That's right. Buy it or else. You can find it on Amazon and everywhere else. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with some more fun.
Or the crack.
Or the crack. Not the white stuff. The fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the iteration there.
Yeah, right.
Explanation needed.
Yes. For those who don't know, crack is once again fun in Irish or Celtic. Is that what's the official language?
Gaelic. So it is a form of Gaelic, but yeah, Gaelic is how you.
Guelka. Me and my American accent. Guelka.
And my Irish accent, you can catch on.
Yeah, right. Alright, well, that's it for today. We'll see you guys around. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, I didn't have to end things on. Alright, bye.